All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, today. Welcome to our annual information sessions for new families and students. We're so excited to have everyone here today. Obviously, we are super pumped that you are headed to the beach this fall. Hopefully, some of you were able to join us this past Saturday at Day at the Beach. Maybe some of you had that illustrious cowbell rung in your honor when you accepted your admission. For new student and family programs, we were there signing folks up for orientation. Um, and it was a great day. So hopefully, some of the faces you see here today on your screen are familiar from Day at the Beach. And hopefully, you'll get some of your questions answered. Our team from admissions has really stepped up and given us some of their time today in their busiest season to get some of these questions answered. So we'll just wait for a couple more people to join us. I'm going to go ahead and share, get the presentation started and share my screen here. And as soon as I do that, we will get started. Do, 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 do. All right. Just so you all are aware, we are going to be utilizing the Q&A box for this webinar. This is important to note because if you place your question in the chat, there is a very good chance we are going to miss it. So um, just as a heads up, please utilize the Q&A box for your questions. We'll have a few people online that I'll introduce in a minute to answer those. And, just want to make everyone aware that we will utilize the Q&A box for questions. If you utilize the chat, only our presenters and panelists will be able to see those chats. So yeah, that's just good to know. We'll just maybe wait one or so more minutes here. We have over 100 folks online with us today, which is great. We love hosting these because ideally, we want to make sure that you feel confident about your transition here to the beach and that you are getting those questions answered and getting that critical information to make that transition smooth and as stress-free as possible. I know there's a lot to manage. So with us today, we have parents, families, first-time first-year students, as well as transfer students. So thank you again to everyone for joining us. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Everybody on my panel, you guys all ready? Yes, all right, awesome. All right, I am going to start by saying welcome. Obviously, if you weren't here in the first 30 seconds, I'm going to say welcome again. Nina and myself are from New Student and Family Programs. My name is Rachel Sanchez, she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director for New Student and Family Programs. I have a picture up here of a student on graduation day. This is the finish line. You all joining us today are at the start line, but I really selected this picture because A, it brought me joy, but also because I think this is the reason why everyone is here, is you want to get to this day. And so this is a great reminder. I'm going to have my colleague Nina introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nina Luxon. I'm the program coordinator. I use she, they pronouns, and I mainly work with parents and families. So if you're going to parent family orientation or anything like that, you will see me. We'll talk about more about that in just a second.
Speaking of, so really quickly, before we dig into the meat of our session today, New Student and Family Programs oversees quite a few things, but predominantly New Student Orientation, Advising, and Registration, which our university knows as SOAR. SOAR is a required orientation program for every incoming student, both first-time first years and transfers. And hopefully, if you are not signed up already, definitely hop into your student center and get that done. And then, Nina, do you want to talk about parent and family orientation?
Absolutely. So, parent and family orientation happens the same days and same time over the summer. While your student is in student orientation, we host and facilitate a parent and family orientation so you can get to know everything about the beach and how to support your student. SOAR is a student only experience, so we really encourage folks that are attending with their student to come to parent and family orientation, which is hosted by me and some of our students. I'm also dropping a few links in the chat for everybody to see. If you'd like to sign up for parent and family orientation or our free bi-weekly newsletter for parents, or to access this presentation, which is currently being recorded, it will be posted on our parent and family programs YouTube tomorrow. So those links are there for you. Please utilize them, and we hope to see you this.
Great. Thank you so much, Nina. We also oversee first year programs as well as our peer-to-peer texting assistance throughout the year and just all around student support. So if you have a question and you're not sure where to go, you are always welcome to contact our office and we'll share that contact information at the end of this session. Um, with that, what to expect today, we are going to have a presentation, like I said, from our team from admissions. They are wonderful joining us here today. And then that will leave us about 30 minutes for Q&A at the end, and we will get through as many questions as we can. Um, so today with us, we have Julian, Ashley, Jocelyn, and Lisa. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves?
I'll go first. So I'm Ashley Alvarez. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at CSULB.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julian Benjamin. I'm also one of the admission counselors at CSULB.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn. I'm a transfer admissions evaluator here at Cal State Long Beach.
And my name is Lisa. I'm one of the transfer admission evaluators here at Long Beach.
Thank you. So, the admissions team is going to go through a few topics today that are here on the screen. They will get into some of the details, deadlines, processes around these topics. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, turn it over to Julian and Ashley to start presenting.
Thanks so much, Rachel. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here in a moment. If you all can confirm that I'm sharing screen. You all see my screen. Okay. Wonderful. So once again, I just want to say welcome you all, and I'm really excited to be here and to get to present and to share some information with you all today. Again, I'm Julian. I'm one of the admission counselors. With me is my colleague Ashley, and a few of our admissions evaluators are with us to help answer any questions that you may have as well. What we do, we assist, Ashley and I, we assist our applicants, families, high school, college counselors, and CSULB partners with updates and guidance on admission policies and procedures. So today we'll just be sharing some important updates as Rachel has so generously shared with you earlier. And again, during this presentation, if you have questions and concerns, we encourage you to write them down and post them in the Q&A box, and hopefully we can address those accordingly. So as we move forward in our presentation today, we'll go over a few, namely next steps for fall of 2026 admission, but things such as how to access your student portal and your student email, how to accept an admission offer, the fall 2026 admission cycle and important dates, when will admission decisions be made, and last but not least, can I change my major? So for For both transfer and first year applicants and students that have been admitted or offered admission, within the offer of admission, you'll receive the steps and details needed to activate and log into your student portal. So within that offer, we usually provide like just a congratulatory notice, and as well as list your official student portal details and a few steps that you'll want to follow. And so once you receive that information, you'll want to follow these steps here. You'll want to first, and this again will also be within that email, but you'll want to go to the CSULB password utility and then select that next button. From there, you can enter your student email address. And for this one, after you've done this and gone through that next step, usually there's a indicator that says, I forgot my email or I forgot my password. So you'll click on the button that says, I forgot my password. I know you didn't forget your password, but just put that to bypass all of the, additional questions. But that'll help you reset or make and create a password, and that'll get you to where you want to be in order to access your student portal. From there, to set your password, yes, you'll continue to follow those instructions. It says you'll need to confirm that it's really you logging on. So at Cal State Long Beach, if you haven't noticed already, there is going to be a multi-factor authenticator, and you'll have to authenticate yourself several times each time you're accessing your record. And so even us staff, we have to do that, and we can't go anywhere without our phones. So the phones are absolutely necessary in order to access that. And if you're having trouble with that, you're more than welcome to reach out to either Ashley or myself, and we'll help get you all connected with our IT if it is something that requires their assistance. But generally, to troubleshoot, you just schedule an appointment with Ashley or myself from one of our bookings, and then we'll be able to sit and kind of troubleshoot again if you're having any issues with this. All right, and so after you activate your account, you can log into your CSULB single sign-on at that link right there. So the SSO, and then honestly, if you put that within any chat or not the chat, but within any browser, the web browser, it should pop up. And from there, you'll just follow those steps to sign in and sign on. Okay, so as we move forward, we're going to look at how do I accept my offer? And so again, this will be the same for first years as well as for transfer applicants. So you'll access this the exact same way. To accept your offer of admission, you'll want to log on to your My CSULB Student Center and select. So there will be different apps firstly when you sign in. And so it'll be like a dashboard with several apps, several windows. You'll want to access what is called My CSULB Student Center. Once you're in there, it's important that you know and get familiar with this Student Center, because it's basically where you're going to check. It's going to be where you your hub for checking your academic requirements report, your hub for contacting and knowing who your advisor is, and then other information for what you'll need for admissions. And so from there, you'll look for the accept decline, which is going to be under the admissions section. Usually it's going to require you to scroll down to the bottom of the page. And then from there, you'll see the offer there, and it'll say accept decline. From there, you'll go ahead and click on that. If you do have a waiver, the waiver is determined through your student aid index. And you'll hear more about that within the financial aid presentation. but that is how how it's determined whether you have a waiver for the $150 enrollment deposit fee or not. And so if you feel that you should have a waiver and you don't, and there was some kind of information that you may have omitted or left out of your admission application that you feel, should be taken into consideration, you're more than welcome to submit an appeal. But if you pay it before, that 150 is most likely going to go towards your tuition, because that's what the enrollment deposit fee waiver does, or enrollment deposit fee does. It goes towards your tuition. So that's basically how you accept. So if you do have the waiver, it'll go through and it'll indicate you have accepted your admission successfully. If it does not go through, it'll just take you to that payment interface where you'll make that 150 deposit payment. All right, and then now we'll go ahead and look into specifically, this is where we'll break off into things that are next steps specific to first-time first years as opposed to the transfer students. And Ashley will pick up with the transfer students. But first, the first-time first year. So the million-dollar question, can I change my major? So in past times, we have allowed students who were eligible and to change their major depending on the availability and depending on approval. So within the first week of May, you will receive an email notice with more information about requests for changing majors. So once again, it is subject to approval. So the request and information of how to submit a major change request, you'll receive that email again the first week of May. So stay tuned. Next, we'll go over basically what we've done so far, as well as other important deadlines within the admission cycle for fall of 2026. So as you can see here, there are several dates and deadlines that have already passed. We're about, this past weekend would probably be the most recent of where we're at. So we're probably in the middle here. The intent to enroll deadline, or the deadline to submit your enrollment deposit fee, is May 1st. And then I don't think any waitlist students are in here, but you have the waitlist decisions that are released after May 1st all the way through July. You have source sign up, which can also be found in that admissions section within your My CSULB. And so you'll make sure you'll sign up for the student orientation, advising, and registration no later than June 2nd. And once you're done with high school, once your final semester has passed, you'll want to sign up for your submit your official final high school transcripts. And that's when we'll be able to do our final audit and review you. If you received a D or F grade, once we receive your transcript, it'll be stamped as a rush. And then that rush will come and we'll be able to still review your eligibility and see where you stand. We'll also at that time be able to see any additional updates to the schedule and to the changes that you've made throughout this spring semester. Alrighty, and then after that, the deadline for transcripts at least is July 15th, and then additionally the fall semester will start late August. Okay, so next steps for first year. If provisionally admitted, these are the different. This is what provisional admission means. Provisional admission means that you are you're currently in progress. You've been given an offer, but you're currently in progress for to satisfy the requirements, and we have to verify those requirements. So these are a few next steps. You want to activate your student account, accept your admission offer. accept or decline your admission offer. That's due no later than May 1st. Your SOAR date, due no later than June 2nd. Of course, the immunizations, you can look on the Student Health Services website to see exactly and go through what's needed and what's required. And then, of course, your final high school transcripts, which we've gone over. And if you're looking for any kind of placement or to use your SAT scores or ACT scores for placement purposes, then you can submit those by that deadline as well. With that said, I also want to encourage you and give you some information regarding our appeal process. So if you're denied or administratively withdrawn for missing a date or deadline, you are welcome to appeal and submit an appeal within 15 days after having received an official notice of withdrawal. And then you should remember to include all relevant information, supporting documentation. If it's something as far as like a transcript or something regarding requirements, you'll want to automatically submit your transcripts, your official transcript record, and have those sent and include an unofficial within the appeal. And then the appeal process, as a standard, it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it takes the entire time. Sometimes it takes less than that time. But that 4 to 6 weeks is within the time frame that you would expect to hear back. Only one appeal may be submitted per academic term per applicant. And so we encourage you to just keep that in mind. And then again, if you have any issues or any troubles, let's say you already submitted an appeal and you're like, oh, it's an emergency and I really, need to submit another appeal, reach out to Ashley or myself, and then we'll kind of walk you through what your next steps would be. All right, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ashley.
Hi, so I'll be going over the transfer admission side of things. So some important information about the cycles and our deadlines. So we already done kind of the first half, just like freshmen, we already applied. So that was October 1st to December 1st. Then we did the supplemental application. You know that you've done it because you're already at this far in the process. And so that opened up in January and it closed February 1st. After that, we had our first round of admissions decisions released, which was February through May. You already have received your admissions decisions at this point. And we had our document deadline for transcripts on March 13th. We did extend it. And so actually today is the last day to submit your transcripts. If you have not submitted it yet, please order by today, because if not, your application will be withdrawn. Day at the beach has already passed, so hopefully you guys were able to come and kind of see the campus and get familiar with what to expect once you start here in the fall. We do have until May 1st to accept your application. We do recommend doing it beforehand and not waiting until last minute, just to avoid any technical issues, or if you do have questions in regards to fee waivers. If your application is showing, or your intent is showing that you have to pay for a fee waiver, but you want to appeal that decision, you can submit an admissions appeal for that. And again, you want to do it with time so that way you can get a response. So also waitlist decisions are happening May to July, but like mentioned before, there's no waitlist students here, so hopefully that does not apply to you. But if you do have friends or family that are applied and kind of waiting for that waitlist decisions, you can kind of let them know it's going to happen after May. Kind of wait until May 1st, because that's when those students who have been offered admissions get their last chance to accept. And then afterwards, if there's space available, then that's when we start admitting students off the wait list. So that's kind of a little bit more technical reason why it happens during that time frame. You have until June 2nd to sign up for SOAR. And again, do that with time, because it is by selected dates too. So you want to make sure that you do get the date that you want to attend for. And so next would be submitting final transcripts. That's once your spring work is all posted by July 15th. Again, just like freshmen, we're going to be beginning the semester in late August. So there's different admission statuses and what they mean. So there's conditional admissions. So this is based off of the self-reported information that you have provided for us in the supplemental application. And so we're going to review based off of that. Then it requires verification from your official transcripts and test scores if necessary, because you can self-report, but we need to verify that what you self-reported is in fact correct. Those conditional admissions offers were just based off the supplemental. So admissions may be rescinded if requirements are not verified by the deadline. Again, today is the last day to submit those transcripts. Then there's provisional admissions. The requirements partly completed and remaining items are planned or in progress. So this could happen if, let's say, you are completing your 60 units by the end of spring. If you have CSU requirements like the oral communication, the written communication, your critical thinking, or your math, or if a major specific is still in progress. You know, if you are doing accounting and you still have calculus for business in progress, you know, you might still be provisionally admitted because that course is necessary for you to complete your admissions eligibility. So completion must occur with an eligible term. For fall of 26, all admissions requirements must be done by the end of spring of 26. Summer work will not count towards admissions eligibility. Let's say that you don't pass a class and you're like, I'm going to take it during the summer. Unfortunately, you would not be eligible for fall and you would need to reapply. The next term that we're going to have would be for spring of 27. That application is going to open up July 1st. So please kind of keep that in mind and hopefully you guys can pass all your classes and that's not going to be an issue. But just in case you do need that information, if you are taking summer work, apply for spring of 27. So final admissions is confirmed upon successful completion and verification. Admissions may be rescinded if requirements are not verified by the deadline. So deadline is end of spring for fall 26, sorry. Okay, clear admissions, which means all admissions requirements are verified and official academics have been reviewed and approved, meaning you have all the requirements, you are good, your spring work will not impact your admissions eligibility. So next steps, if you are conditionally admitted, please activate your student account. Make sure you check your to-do list to make sure that you've ordered and submitted your transcripts to us. If you have any AP scores, CLEP scores, any of that, hopefully you already ordered in advance because AP and CLEP do take some time. So hopefully that's still not on your to-do list anymore, that it's off. And then accept your admissions offer. Again, you have until May 1st. I would do it now. Don't wait until the last minute. But that would be the next thing in the process. Registering for SOAR, it's very important. If you don't register by SOAR or for SOAR, then your application will be withdrawn as well. So there's two things that can still happen before withdrawn. You're not accepting, not attending SOAR, and then documents too. Immunizations, they're going to be due June 1st, and then final transcripts with any pending work, whether it's, you know, those spring 26 requirements or an ADT, must be posted by July 15th. So if you are denied or administratively withdrawn, you have 15 days after receiving that official notice to submit an appeal. In your appeal, please include all relevant supporting information that can help prove that you should be reinstated or should be reconsidered for admissions. So this is only if like you have more information that was not present at the time of the application. If you were withdrawn for not having a math requirement, but you have now since added a course and you are going to be eligible, please submit an official transcript or unofficial transcript within that appeal. Any information that's going to help show us that you are going to be eligible. Appeal processes can take 4 to 6 weeks. That's the typical timeline. It can take longer than that. So if it does take longer, please be aware that we are working on it. But we are in peak periods, and so we do have a lot of tasks that we're managing. We will get to your appeal. Your appeal response will come in an email. So as soon as we have that decision, you will be notified. Only one appeal may be submitted per academic term per applicant. Unfortunately, if you already submitted an appeal prior to this withdrawn appeal, only one per term. So for transfer students, can I change my major? Major changes are not allowed during the admissions process. And if fully admitted, students should be aware that being able to switch majors is not a guarantee. It's not like freshmen, unfortunately. With freshmen, there's more time to change your major. There's not major specific requirements that are necessary. And so with transfer students, it's, looking at your major specific requirements, competitiveness between those different majors, timely graduation, which means, are you going to be able to switch that major and complete it in an allotted amount of time? Not always possible. We do recommend that, let's say that you applied for computer science and now you're interested in business. One, you can talk to an academic advisor once you start, but it's not guaranteed. We recommend that you just reapply for the major that you are interested in. That way you can go back to your community college, complete any of those major specific requirements, and then apply once you are ready. Students who are offered admissions and accept should be prepared to complete the degree that they applied for. Yeah, there's no guarantee of being able to switch the majors, kind of like what I just reiterated. At any time, you can check your status through an applicant self-service, which you should have access to, but also at this point, you should have access to your portal. And that portal will show your application status as well. Okay. And this is more information about me and Julian. So our emails, if you guys have any questions, we can help you via email, but we do recommend booking an admissions appointment. We can be only so responsive via email. If there's a little bit more complicated answers that we need to give, like if you're missing one of your major specifics, are you going to be eligible? We do recommend booking an appointment just so we can kind of talk it out to see, is it a major specific course? Is it a GE course that might not be necessary because some students are like, I'm not taking history anymore, but they're a biology major. Well, if you have your general education, the Golden Four completed and your major specific, that history course or whatever other course is not going to be something that we're looking for. And so it does vary situation to situation. So we do recommend booking a one-on-one. They are 15 minutes where we would help you kind of look at everything to make sure that you're eligible or kind of next steps if you're not, looking at how to reapply. There's other helpful information. So you could always book an appointment. If you have questions in regards to submitting your transcripts, you could always send an email to our IDP team. They're the ones that process that information. So let's say that you submitted your transcript and it's still showing that we have not received it, but you submitted it over a month ago. You can contact them and you can try to locate it if you have a parchment ID number. And then please include your campus ID number as well, so they're able to try to locate it and match it to the correct student. If you do have any residency questions, you can email our residency team and they'll kind of assist you through the process. Also, Julian does help with residency as well. He's a little bit more informed than I am. So if you do book a counseling appointment in regards to residency, please book it under Julian. He'll be able to assist you more than I will be able to. I'll kind of guide you through the forms, but any more technical information about that, Julian would be your kind of go-to contact in regards to just kind of submitting those forms. If you have any Cal State Apply technical issues, you can always contact them. But I think at this point, you guys are past Cal State Apply. So hopefully that's not something that you guys will need to be contacting.
And with that, we'll go ahead and stop share and you feel free to continue to ask questions and yeah, we'll open the floor.
Great. Thank you so much, Julian. I do see a question here that hasn't been addressed yet. On our school's early college program with Cerritos College, am I going to enroll as a freshman? What is the process? I think they may be referring to the fact that they are in a dual enrollment program.
Okay. So for dual enrollment, basically how it works is once you'll still be applying as a first year student. So graduation from a high school, that means you apply as a first year student. Regardless if you have your AA, and you have enough to be a junior. You'll want to still apply as a first year, which means freshman, and you would want to how you'll navigate that is first you'll come in under the major that you applied to. At that point, you let your advisors know, or upon submitting your transcripts, you'll submit all of your college transcripts and your high school transcripts and your coursework for transfer credit evaluation. Once you receive a transfer credit evaluation, you'll meet with your academic advisor within that first semester, and you'll let them know, hey, I have such and so credit. I have received credit for this, and I've taken this, and then from there they'll kind of help you navigate your next steps. But yes, you'll still be applying as a first year student.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we do have a webinar, just like this one, an information session, specifically about the details around dual enrollment, how it works, what to expect. That will take place on Wednesday, May 6th. So if anyone here either is a high school student who's currently enrolled in college level classes or at in high school still and at a community college concurrently, then I definitely recommend that you attend that dual enrollment webinar as well to get some of those more specific questions answered. The other question I was going to ask is that I saw pop up in the Q&A a few times that maybe y'all could address is how do folks know that their transcripts have been received if they submitted them? Is there a way for them to double check that, yes, you received them?
Yeah, so once we receive them, they'll be taken off their to-do list. And so
Oh,
your
perfect.
to-do list is on their student portal.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So if it's not on your to-do list, you are all set.
Correct.
Can either of you talk a little bit about the placement tests that are required by some departments? Are you equipped to talk about that a little bit? There was a couple questions about that as well.
I have basic knowledge about it. I don't know if
Yeah.
Jillian has more, but from my understanding is usually the ALEX placement test will happen through academic advising. It's not really an admissions process because that's once you're a matriculated student. And so any questions in regards to the ALEX, I believe they have a website. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Jillian, do you have any more information on that?
That's basically my understanding of it as well. Is that, if it's a STEM specifically, then yeah, they will be required to take that Alex, or usually they receive an email with that information in it. And then from there, if they're wanting to use like something like their SAT or their ACT scores to help them with placement, then that's something that they navigate with their academic advisors once they're admitted.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know for both for the College of Engineering as well as the College of Natural Science and Mathematics, they do require most students to take the ALEX. Our biggest piece of advice to all incoming students is please, please, please check your email. That is obviously important for critical communications from admissions. But also, as it gets closer to your SOAR date, you will be contacted as needed by your advising center. So if you are a first year student, also known as a freshman, you'll be required to take an advising survey where you kind of tell them a little bit about yourself. If you're a transfer, they don't do the advising survey, but because your advising is done separately. Freshmen, they do it all in one day. Transfers, it is separate. So a lot of that communication is done via email. So it's super essential that you're keeping an eye on that for kind of all topics. All right, let's look through here.
See a question in regards to grades and Ds.
Yeah.
I'm going to just kind of answer that here. So we cannot guarantee how a D is going to like impact you right now, because there's different factors that can play into it. So let's say that a D is on an A through G. So an A through G is required in order for, or a complete A through G is required for students to be eligible. So let's say that that course is on an English. That can impact admissions. Let's say that course is on an elective. Then that can be a little bit more flexible depending on the student's situation, how that impacts the GPA. So if that D brings down the GPA, then that can impact admissions. Or let's say that that D is on an English, but let's say that English has already been fulfilled by other requirements, then that might not impact as much. There's a lot of different factors. And so what we do recommend is speaking with your high school counselor to make sure that one, your GPA isn't really impacted, and two, that your A through G is complete. We won't know until we receive your final high school transcripts, and that's when we'll kind of like verify your eligibility. In the meantime, kind of just be on top of your grades, try to pass with C's or better. But we cannot give an answer right now because it's case by case scenarios, depending on the student's academic records holistically.
And just to add to that, if you know it's an English class that you're struggling in, or like that you've received that D in and you haven't, it's like the last class. I would recommend seeing what you can do to work with your school to try to get and work with them, like maybe be it through coursework that you submit, be it through a special assignment assigned to you to do to make up certain work. But try to work with them, and maybe get some advocacy from your counselor to work with you in working with their administration to get that at least to a C minus. We'll take a C minus, to us is still a C. So do what you can to get that, or to work with them and try to get them to work with you to do that. We've seen that during like final audit stages. But sometimes when you wait till after you graduate, it's a little bit too late to, do that negotiation because you had already graduated at that point. Although I have seen it, but still, I would say even before your graduation, even though it's close to your graduation, see if you can work with them, even with making up like late assignments or things like that. We see that all the time, but that'll help you if you know for sure that, oh man, I received a D in this class. But that's specifically if it's like, do that for any class, but especially for those A through G ones.
Great. There are a couple questions that I want to that are in the Q&A about orientation and registering for classes. So just briefly, very brief departure from admissions. That if you are an incoming student, you will not register for classes until your orientation date. So if you're a first-time first year, you will register on the day of your SOAR date. You'll spend the morning with our orientation office, that's us, hello, and we will hand deliver you to your academic advising center in the afternoon where you get to meet with advisors. They will walk you through the process and get you registered for classes. If you are a transfer student, your SOAR experience is two parts. Part one is orientation. You will hang out with us on day one. And day two, which is the following business day at 9 a.m., you will be eligible to register for classes. Prior to that 9 a.m. registration date, you will have already met with an advisor and been advised on what classes to take. because students are being newly accepted, they're going through all of these processes, they're attending webinars like this. They are obviously excited. They want to know, when do they get to register for classes? That's definitely top of mind for folks. Because our university has an enrollment of nearly 40,000 people, our academic advising teams are currently assisting current students. So students who are continuing at the university and re-enrolling for fall. And you will absolutely have your dedicated time in your turn in the summer. So we just ask that you sit tight, wait until the summer. They do set aside classes for incoming students. They won't all be taken, I promise. So the sooner you can come to orientation, the better choices of class you'll have. But we just ask that you do not reach out to your advising centers. They will not be able to help you until your SOAR date. That includes a lot of resources here on campus. There's a question about getting EBT, also known as SNAP benefits. You would not be able to talk to our basic needs office until you're an enrolled student. So that would be in fall of 2026. Okay. Hopefully that helped. All right, Julian and Ashley, I don't know if you can bring your slides back up, but Jesus wants to know if he's done everything besides SOAR, what else does he still need to do? You did have that nice little list of items that I think included like immunizations and stuff like that. If you want to pull, if you have a second to pull that up, I think
Yes,
that would be
just give
helpful
me,
to review a few deadlines.
absolutely. Uh, is Jesus a transfer student? I'll pull up both, but
Yeah.
regardless, I would definitely say that transcripts, if you have anything in progress, let's say if you're first year, um, you'll definitely want let's share this. Okay. So here you'll definitely want to visit the Student Health Services website and just look into, any, immunizations or things that, you'd want to have or already have submitted. This information here is on our website. I don't know if someone can pull this, either Ashley or Lisa or um, Joss, if you can pull this or provide that within the chat there. Or, but this would be steps for you to follow. So, and things that you can think about. If you've already done housing, there's a drop down for that. And then, of course, the July 15th is the final day for the official high school transcripts. And then, and that's both for first year and transfer. So, they're basically very similar steps. The only difference is, where your transcripts are coming from for the most part. But yeah, these are going to be your next steps.
I also put a couple of links in the chat. One is the booking link for me and Jillian. So if you want to schedule an appointment and we can talk one-on-one, you can book an appointment. Then I also put the Alex information and then also the next steps for newly admitted transfers. And then I'll put the one for freshmen as well.
Great. Thanks, Ashley. There is one question still in the Q&A. Do all incoming freshmen need placement tests for English and math? I don't think that is accurate anymore. I think that was an old approach, and that's not a practice that they utilize anymore. Can someone verify that?
Yes, that is correct. We no longer there do the English or the ELM, the EPT. We no longer do that part of that's no longer required for, admission. But if you receive an email about that, it's usually for the math that you'd receive an email if you're a STEM major, and then you get more information if there is a required placement. But to answer your question, no. Everyone is not required, but you'll be notified if you are required to participate in a placement.
Great. Yeah, and if you are, it is called the Alex. So great. It looks like some of these are being answered. Nina is answering a question about immunizations. I will also drop a link in the chat to that information. Jennifer wants to confirm that today is the last day for incoming freshmen to send transcripts. We thought it was due July 15th.
So for transfers, it's today. I covered the transfer portion of it, but for freshmen, they have until July 15th, once you're actually done with your spring classes, once you actually graduate and have your graduation date posted on your final official high school transcript.
Great.
Yes. So transfers have two transcript review dates, and first years only have one. The first years, that's July 15th. Transfers, that's what we just went through, this March 18th extended to the April 15th. That's the first review. And the final review for those that still have in spring coursework or spring in progress, that's the July 15th. So yeah, just for transfers.
Thank you for that clarification. I know that obviously people got to pay attention to those deadlines. Really quick for Seth Hang, transfer SOAR, part one, yes, is in person. There are very minimal virtual options for transfers only. And part two, you mentioned that that's only a Zoom meeting. Predominantly, yes, it is usually done via Zoom prior to your actual registration date. So there are a couple colleges. I know the College of Education for sure offers some in-person part two, but for the most part, most colleges keep that virtual. So you'll only have to come to campus once. Hopefully that helps. All right. We are coming to the end of our session here today. Hopefully everyone found this helpful. We find, the more we can get information into your hands, the better off everyone is. So we have time for a couple more questions. If anyone wants to throw theirs into the Q&A, we can go ahead and answer those live. Just for fun, Araceli asked if all students need to schedule admissions counseling. No, that is just if you have specific questions and need a little bit of one-on-one time with either Julian or Ashley. For Zoe, I just put the link in the chat about immunizations. If you click on that link that is student affairs /immunizations/ all incoming students, that will have all the answers to your immunization questions. It can get a little bit complicated, so definitely check out that information. It's a lot more detailed. All right. Any other last thoughts from our presenters and our wonderful admissions folks today? All right. I am going to oops. All right. So if you do have more questions and we weren't able to answer them, you can always contact Enrollment Services. The information that Julian and Ashley shared, a lot of it is available online. Their links are also in the chat to book information with them. Mine and Nina's department is New Student and Family Programs. We work really closely in collaboration with all of our campus partners to put on sessions like this, as well as SOAR and parent and family orientation. Our phone number is listed here as well as our website. A few folks have asked about the recording. The recording will be on our parent and family YouTube page, which Nina dropped a link prior, but maybe if you can repeat that link again, Nina, just so people know where to find this link or
I
find this recording.
just did.
Okay, awesome. And thank you again to our wonderful admissions team, Julian, Ashley, Jocelyn, and Lisa. Really appreciate your time today. Our next session is going to be student housing. I know housing is a very, very popular question. We always have a lot more applicants than we have slots in the dorms. We do have a new building coming online this fall. Um, uh, the Playa, I think it's called, and it's going to be beautiful. So um, please join us on April 22nd, same Zoom link, same time, Wednesday at 4 p.m. You can use the same link. You will also get another little mini reminder email from me. Um, and yeah, we'll be able to hopefully answer all of your student housing questions, just because I know that that process seems to be a little bit of a mystery for folks. So that team will be joining us and will hopefully demystify that process. All right. There are a couple more questions in the chat, and we do have a couple more minutes. Um, Nina is answering the question, are we going to be able to make a counseling appointment in the orientation day? The short answer is if you are a first-time first year and you want to see an advisor, you will get to on your orientation day. If you are a transfer student, they will contact you via email because all the academic colleges have different processes. You do not need to make an appointment as an incoming student. That is built into the SOAR process for you. Let's see. Can my son change major before entering? Peter, if your son is a first-time first-year student, they will have an opportunity to request a major change. That does not mean it will be approved, but they will be receiving an email, I believe in May, about that major change process. There is a form. It will either be approved or denied, and then they will move forward from there. If your son is a transfer, there are no guarantees and there is not a formalized process, just because there is a lot, the admissions process for that is a little bit different. And so you have to take into consideration the major specific requirements and competitiveness of the admission for that major. So transfer students don't usually change their major, but there are exceptions. All right, I think that's it. I don't know if we can answer your question, Cooper. They want to know how many students were admitted this year. I have no idea. I'm not sure anybody on this call knows how many. All right.
And
Oh, go ahead, Julian.
for that, Cooper, the it changes. We can't really know right now. It's hard to know because things are constantly shifting, but maybe sometime later, that data will be available.
Yeah, for sure. Still flowing. All right. Well, from New Student and Family Programs, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you again to our admissions team. Y'all are wonderful. Really enjoyed having you here today. We will see you this summer here at the beach. We're super excited. Come and say hi to Nina and I. If you see us at orientation, you'll definitely see me. If you're a student, you'll definitely see Nina. If you are a parent or family member or supporter, we are here all day, so give our office a call. Again, if you have additional questions, we are here to answer them, especially if you have questions about orientation that were answered in the session here today. So with that, I will stop the recording and stop all the things, and I will say